I'm CM Dragonlark, and we're going to have a special QA live stream today about all the updates in the game Pegasus, and we have a very special guest here. We have, you guys going to see on the live stream for the first time ever. Are you okay? You're okay. Leonis!
Go ahead.
No? Okay, right. We have to. Leonis. He picked this image out himself.
I can't help it. I'm a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the year of the monkey.
Oh, that's what. I
So-
forgot that was the reasoning.
That's the reasoning. But really, actually,
Or do you want me to do it? Okay. Leonis! Yay!
hi everybody. So it's a little embarrassing, but yeah, this is the first time I've actually been on camera. So sorry if I'm not what you expect, but
Should have come on camera a long time ago. We'll get all the devs on camera, won't we?
we're gonna try and get Genesis on the stream too.
Yes.
We weren't
If
able to get the
Genesis
connection beforehand,
is ready, then we'll have two devs.
so that might take some time, and I might need to put on headphones so I can hear him.
It'll appear on the TV
I
screen.
need to hear him.
You should be able to hear him through the TV screen. The
What's
sound
he-
is coming out of the TV screen right now. That's how it's hooked up.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone will hear.
Sure.
But hold on. Sorry.
So it's kind of in here.
Yep.
I'll just call him.
I'm just so cautiously.
I'm trying to be prepared.
I know, I'm trying to be nice. That's why when we're all like alright. Let's see if this works. Alright. I don't hear the sound. It's possible. We'll need tech support ghosts to come in and help us. Did you hear him?
Hi, David. Genesis. Not that anyone doesn't know your name anyway.
Can you hear him through there?
Yeah, I hear him.
Okay, so
So I don't know, does anybody hear Genesis?
yeah, let us know. I can't hear him when
So
we were
this will be
testing
fun.
it earlier. It was just through there that the sound was coming from the game and everywhere.
Check.
No.
We're more prepared for answering questions than doing the stream, so.
Yes. We have the questions, everything set up. We want to make sure that was ready, and then it was like, oh, right, more people. We need to make sure everyone's, yeah. I actually don't know because Oda has a very magical way he set the sound up, so I don't know
Oda!
how to change his
Oda!
magical setup.
Should we cry louder or go get him?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to, we should probably hear.
Go ahead and start writing to him. But
In the meantime,
I seen the chat. Hi, Trevor.
hello Trevor and Zern and Honey
Zern,
Buns.
Honey Bunch, Mag King 69, CM Veritas. Yeah, everyone's gonna be harassing Oda for us. All the people. I'm not sure if Genesis can be heard. I mean, I hear him. Can anybody else hear him? Jen, you want to talk?
Oh, I can hear him now.
And do you hear him through here or do you hear him through the headset?
Oh, there. I hear him through the headset.
Oh, okay.
I just turned it up loud enough there.
Alright.
Ooh.
Mad King can't hear him.
Tech support ghost.
It's the tech support ghost. What's up? Fun folks.
So we want to make it so that everyone could hear Genesis, who is on Skype, who we can only hear
yeah,
through
we-
there.
Yes. Okay.
Sound
Alright.
magic.
We'll have sparkle motion magic.
Sparkle motion magic.
So let's boost this up a little bit. Genesis, can you start talking a little bit? All right. So I think what it is that Skype is outputting to the headphones when it should be outputting to the. I think if it outputs to the TV, everybody will be over here.
Livestream 101, guys. For anyone who needs to know. I need to know.
More like live Scream 101.
Speak up again.
Just a continuous flow of words, Genesis. Anything you want.
Still hear the headset. Keep going. Just keep talking.
But,
Oh.
is it working now? Are we there yet? Are we
Hello
there yet?
there.
All right.
We're able to hear you. Are folks in the chat able to hear Genesis?
Hello, hello, testing. 1 1 1 1.
Yay!
Excellent.
Yes.
Sounds
Ooh.
like they're able to hear you.
Yay.
Woohoo, success.
Oda's a magician
Yeah.
That's
Oda does
right.
magical
With a-
things with the sound.
with a fancy hat.
Sparkly movie magic.
Yeah.
Well, he took off the hat, so now he's not a
I can't
magician
wear
anymore.
this anymore. The fedora has been sullied by the internet.
Oh no, that's true.
What happened?
Nothing.
I don't want to know. The internet's involved. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Hello,
that's accurate.
thank you for watching my YouTube reviews. I've got some things to say about women online. Bye.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your help, Oda.
Drink. Thanks you.
Don't spit it out. We only got one computer.
That's accurate.
All right, so now we can begin.
Yeah. So this live stream is going to be a QA about the new updates coming to Rose and Pegasus. I'm in Pegasus right now.
As you all can see.
On Tristione, I don't know, anyone who's been to like the Running Around Rose live streams, I used to be on Tristione a lot, my muse. So we're going to be testing out some killing things. Also, we're going to be answering questions from the thread that's up and questions you have in chat. So are you ready for...
Let's do it.
Let's do it? Yeah, alright. So first, let's go ahead and answer because they can't first come first serve. They
Alright,
answer questions
so
first.
first on the list is will the new dot and hot updates be implemented in this state or postponed? Well, right now it's still being worked on, so it's intended to be updated with the live update, but we're still working on it. It's coming across. It's very cool what we've been able to do with it. It's just we keep breaking things because, yeah. Jen, you want to tell them a little bit about what you're fixing right now, the latest?
So right now we're having issues with when you cast a dot onto a target. If you were to log out, it could crash the server. So at the moment we're trying to set it up so that you don't have to still be around when you cast a dot on somebody. But we have HOTS working.
Little things.
Yeah, right now we're just working through issues with it and getting it to work and polishing it up so that we can release it. Maybe.
We're going as quick as we can, but it's little things like that tend to slow things down. Crashing the server is not exactly something we're okay with.
Yeah. Everyone could follow you there.
Yeah. The follow-up question that is, if it is added, will there be options to modify the amounts with the new runes? With the runes themselves, there may be some effects, like stats, that can influence it, but not solely the dot and hot. And for anybody who may not actually know what we're talking about, when we say dot and hot, it's DOT and HOT. It stands for damage over time and healing over time. These are relatively new effects because we've had to kind of do workarounds to make similar effects, like restore? I think it's restore. Jen?
Restore.
Is it restore? I think it's restore. The Muse support skill where it gives you HP recovery based on your level for a period of time.
Possibly.
You have
I,
that.
th-
That's
I
awesome.
think it's restore.
It is restore.
I don't have it, but I have it.
I know stuff.
I was like, Muse. I'm on a Muse right now.
So it's restore. So if you read the description, it says it grants a restore effect that increases your HP recovery over a certain amount of time based on your level. So we're going to basically be adding support for true heal over time effects, which will actually have duration intervals and a total duration. So if I say it's going to have a tick interval of every 3 seconds. Every 3 seconds, you will get restored for a certain amount of time, and it'll run for the total duration. So in this case, it says 8 seconds. So you'll get 2.5 ticks roughly worth of healing. We're gonna still work on things like increasing the amount. That should be already kind of in the game's mechanics based on like charm and other things that say they increase healing effects and stuff like that. We'll work on trying to increase things or add stats like increase status duration effects for healing and whatnot. Because this is a new direction and mechanic for the game that really should actually add a lot of diversity and consideration to strategy that we hope that you guys will enjoy. One of the other
Especially being able to stack effects together and
exactly. That was actually one of the other goals that we had with the new dot or the status effect changes, is that we want to make it so that if you have people using different types of dot styles, like poison knife, poison arrow, everything that's poison, but they're not the same actual skills. Technically, they're all different types of poison. So why shouldn't they be all able to affect the target? The other part is you could never die from an actual dot tick. So that's been changed as well. So you can actually die from the tick of a dot if it gets you down low enough. So you'll never be safe if you think you have, if you've gotten away and you have a poison on you, you can still die. That was one of those little things that always kind of annoyed me. Because it's like you want to like have that dot do its duty, do its job. If you put it on them as your last resort, so that if they try to run away, they're still going to continuously take damage. But if it's not going to be the final blow, it's not as
Sounds fun.
yeah. I've lost so many kills that way. Monsters and players alike. Anyway, so that'll change. But like we were saying, stacking is going to be an issue, where if it's from different types of skills, it'll apply that much more dots on the target, so you'll actually start seeing their life chunk away faster, or oops, my phone, it'll be more painful. But at the same time, we're also making it so that we'll start adding skills that can directly purify or cleanse specific types of dot damage. So we'll probably give like a class a cure poison type of skill, where all it does is cure poison. So for the number of types of poisons that are actually in the game, this would want to be used frequently just to get rid of it, because poisons are expected to last longer now. Because instead of doing damage every second, we'll probably have the poisons be like every few seconds, or maybe we'll do half seconds and just make it look like you're just, burning away from poison. Anyway, there's a lot of different things, but duration should increase to make the lethality of it feel a lot more painful. And likewise, there's going to be ways of making the damage increase based on stats and skill effects and other things like that. So putting more game systems into dots being an actual gameplay consideration, a viable build, as you may call it. Lots of other questions.
Yes.
So, what do we got? Will there be free stat and skill resets when the patch goes live server? Yes. Anytime we ever do an update that has an impact to a skill build, skill tree, skill changes that may influence how you may decide to want to build your character, or change your build of your character, we will provide stat and skill resets every time. We created the 24-hour skill reset skill in the item wall tab just for this purpose. So, yes. Will there be free skill and stat resets on Pegasus to play with? Yeah. We do try and provide that on Pegasus. We give extended versions of it for that purpose sometimes. But we have to kind of remind ourselves to do it every once in a while, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
So if we're on Pegasus and your character doesn't have one, or it ran out, just kind of poke us and we'll reset it for everybody again, just in case. Are the runes going to be free on Pegasus to test all stages and empowerment levels? We'll make them available. Free is kind of a bit of a challenge only because we actually want to see how you guys do with upgrading them. So in some aspects, they're not going to be free. We're still not quite done with tweaking how they're actually going to be empowered. Upgrading them in that manner is something we're still trying to tweak out as well. The idea for the runes is that every so many levels is going to be like a tier or a milestone, if you will. And at that milestone, we want you to have to do something to break through the power that's going to be gained for succeeding. So concepts we've talked about are going to be things like you have to actually complete a quest or objective, whether it be PvP or a monster mission or something. It really will depend heavily on the type of rune that you're empowering. And you have to accomplish that to get an item that's going to be used for your attempt. This does not guarantee your attempt, so just be warned. This system is designed for the endgame and hardcore. It has an aspect to it that allows most players to be able to get into it fairly easily and be able to make use of it, but to get to the absolute end of it is going to be a lot of commitment, a lot of effort, and frustration. So I'm warning you now that it's not necessarily being made for you to purely enjoy. It's going to be hard, but we wanted this to be something for you guys as a challenge to achieve, because we know what it feels like to actually get something that's really worked for. And one of those things is, you know, working for it.
Part of the fun is how difficult
Yeah.
it's going to be.
So it'll be fun.
I think it takes quite a lot of the feedback that's been taken for the refining system and sort of introducing a system where players have an end game hardcore section, but without affecting what the refined system gives them at the moment.
Yes. And we didn't want to keep tampering with the refined system, so we came up with something else.
Just real fast, is anyone getting like echoes? And if so, like, is it from everyone? Is it just from, like, because Veritas noticed that they said we're getting epically echoey, which sounds very epic and echoey. And I don't see any reason that would be happening, so, yes.
Epically
Okay.
echoey.
Echo from me.
That's what I was thinking. It was probably from Jen because of the way it's set up.
Echo.
Oh yeah, the echo probably coming from the speaker being next to the microphone.
Yeah, but there's not anything we can do from that because I think that's
Jen is now the voice of God.
yeah.
Boom.
Booming and echoing.
We apologize.
I don't.
I will ask. Whoa. I will ask Oda in case there is something we can do to fix that. But we can probably continue with me. Strange ghostly being from the other side.
Yeah. I
It's fine.
guess next question.
I'll stay perfectly silent for the rest of the stream and just haunt you from a distance.
Good. Yay. Are there going to be any catalyst options, either in-game or item mall, to increase chances to successfully something? Because the screen cut off. Probably successfully empower. No. Just simple no. I have no plans for it. I actually wanted to, I intended for this to be purely an in-game thing. There's enough item mall influences towards what's going to be needed to gain the materials already, but as far as directly influencing the success rates, no. Told you it's going to be hard.
That would be far too easy.
I guess a couple facts would be fun. Runes are going to have 100 levels to them, so you'll be empowering them for a while. First couple dozen levels will probably be fairly easy.
To lull you into this false sense of security about it.
Something, just to give you a taste. by about level 30-ish, I think you should start seeing a bit of what the rune can do overall. I forget, it's either 30 or 60. But runes will have a minimum of 3 stats total to them. There will be a small selection of runes that'll have 4. And all of them give, well, all of them have a small upgrade improvement, be it small or large, every level and milestone. Milestones are usually going to be where you're going to gain either a new stat or a percentage increase. So you can expect 10 of them since there's one every 10 levels. And level 100 is going to have the biggest, obviously. Because, wow, yeah, that'll be a lot.
Because big numbers are big.
Will rune degrade if the empowerment fails? No. I don't want to penalize you guys because it's bad enough that if it fails, you're going to lose the materials and time and effort, and that's going to be part of the struggle of getting it up there. So, no, they will not degrade. I may have gone over this with somebody on the forums, I don't know if or not, but one of the other actual advantages of the runes that we're going to be doing is they will be upgradable whether they're in a piece of equipment or not. So you don't have to worry about de-socketing it and then upgrading it. You can do it both. So you can carry it around with you, transfer it, or just leave it in that one epic weapon and keep upgrading it while it's there. And that'll make it a lot more convenient for this system. Oh, that was one of the next questions. Can I empower a rune if it's in an item? So yeah. What are the benefits of testing a patch on Pegasus? You get to know what to do first. You don't get to be clueless about when it hits the live system of what to do, how it works, maybe even what to go for. Some runes may be your style, some may not. Pegasus is a little bit more open. We try and allow for more build creativity and freedom. We do try and support anyone who's doing specific tests as long as the request isn't too ridiculous. Like, give me everything that's awesome. That was an actual request. I won't say who. But
Did they specifically phrase it like that?
yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
I think it was a joke request in that sense, but at the same time when I said, okay, tell me what's awesome, and then I got a huge list, and it was like, no, pick like 2 sets, and I'll see if I can find it in my time. We are pretty busy, so if you guys have like specific gear requests, it does get put into a list of like, if we have time to do it, we'll do it. But it also depends on how many requests there are overall, what the intention is behind it. If you guys have like the intention of just wanting to see how kick butt your build is at the absolute peak, that's not really what we're doing. We're trying to test the systems and features and make sure that they work, and make sure that nothing breaks. You guys will have all the time in the world to test what your build might be because, you know, things change. Live server can change. We might find one aspect of a skill that's a little too powerful or something, and the little tweaks can always change the balance of everything outcoming. So don't test for yourself because it's not what the intention is of Pegasus. We're trying to test and make sure that everyone can enjoy it and play. Because if we start having big crashes and bugs that cause like huge imbalances to gameplay, well, it's just going to kind of make the live server a little chaotic and miserable for everybody, and we really don't want that. So we do try our best to make sure that it's not that way, and just, you know, we're testing for the betterment of the community, not just for your sake of being able to dominate.
Also, I mean, it is good for, because people will generally play, obviously, their characters on Pegasus, so if there is an issue with the character that you're playing, if you try it on Pegasus first, you would find that, and thus it would be resolved perhaps before it goes live, so that does benefit you.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah, that's a good point. We did update the Pegasus with a more recent server backup. I believe this is from February 1st, just before our Lucky Spin update. So apologies for not having any of the costumes and items that were added from that point.
We discovered that.
She
I discovered that when I logged in. Where are my costumes?
She was just a floating head with invisible item boxes. I felt bad. But everything prior to that point will be there, so you'll be fine. Just change your gear. It's just the costume stuff, so most of the existing gear should all be there. It's fine. What else is there?
There was only one other question. I think it was about actually. So when will Pegasus be online?
Pegasus is actually online right now. There are some aspects that you cannot test, which is the dot and hot system. We haven't quite implemented their full setup yet. Like Genesis mentioned, you can crash the server if you hit somebody with a dot and log out. So we do basic tests ourselves to make sure that things like that get caught. So at the moment it's disabled, so you can log on and play and test everything else and see what else you can crash. And just let us know what you did. Please.
Yeah, please.
But the runes need to be tested. There's a lot of. This is why I can't have nice things. I dropped my phone. Sorry, 1 second.
So the runes.
There we go. Oh, there we go, silent. So prepared.
I learned from many live streams that
I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
What needs to be tested? You said runes.
There's a lot of skill changes too.
There are a lot of skill changes.
I can't even list half of them, right? Or
The buffs are the biggest thing.
yes, but oh yeah, we redid the buff system again. Well, no, not again, but we redid the buff system like mechanically. We didn't just like change the stats and buffs and what they do. We actually changed the system mechanics itself. So it's all percentage based now. So we're not giving power. I would go into the full explanation of how it was done, but that takes a long time. And essentially, in the end, it's going to really help tame down a lot of the low-level power leveling to ridiculous extremes that we did not actually like to see. Instead, it will actually create a consistent expectation of when you get buffed, how much power you're going to get, and that's going to be based on your build. So if I have so much attack power or something, any stat, and a cleric comes around and buffs me, the stats that I've designed my build around to make me strong in that playing style will get stronger. That's it though. Anything else will get stronger, but proportionally to how much you have. So if you're not strong in dodge, you're not going to get much out of the dodge buff. Instead of now, which is everything gets buffed and become ungodly. So in the end, it's going to be a system of support that'll actually support your build, not just your everything.
Yeah, because if you're leveling and you have a buff that makes everything amazing, then once you reach a point where that buff doesn't make everything really, if you don't have the buff, then you don't really get as good a feel for what you're trying to build towards.
Right.
You want to always from the very beginning be leveling, testing your own strengths, what you want to be stronger in, and so the buffs are going to help with that rather than almost hinder your ability to grow.
Yeah. The biggest sad point of our current buff system that I notice is that for low-level players or new players especially, when they come in, they get buffed by a cleric. As nice as it is for you guys to be there to buff them and support them, the moment you're gone or that buff is gone and they don't have it anymore, it's a huge withdrawal because they're so powerful and they go through destroying everything.
Addicted to those buffs.
And it's an addictive quality. So it's discouraging, actually. And so noticing that, we had to do something about it, and this is our answer to it. And we're hoping that this will help with the expectation a lot of new players have coming into the game when they do get support, that they don't feel such a huge withdrawal once the buffs wear off and they can actually play and carry on normally. on the other side, for high-level players, what it's actually going to end up doing is make you even stronger in your build. So there are some things that we actually had to change on top of the mechanics to the buff. So you'll see a lot of like tweaks and changes, and it'll seem like big reductions in numbers, but it was done more so to try and make sure that certain aspects of being buffed didn't overpower from what gameplay kind of is now. We already know that at the higher levels, some people have pretty strong builds, and so we had to make sure that they didn't get even stronger. So there were a lot of tweaks and adjustments. Attack speed's one of them. I think more or less throughout the game gear stats, anything I could find, attack speed was kind of flattened out a little down and tamed. Even the basic underside of attack speed was tweaked a bit to kind of slow it down, because it did get out of hand pretty quickly. I don't remember, did we change the defense scale, Genesis?
No, I don't think we adjusted defense.
I think we tried it once, and the feedback was bad, so we put it back. I think we did that. Anyway, there are a lot of tweaks and changes. We'll have a full list for you with patch notes. I might as well take out the spoiler now. I changed refine powers throughout all of the levels, and nobody noticed. I'm sorry, one person noticed.
Spoilers.
So, being that as it is, it was a good change to also the refinements, so that they are less powerful individually and work very well in conjunction with the buff system. And it kept gameplay feeling the same. So I was happy to see that nobody except that one person had noticed. But yeah, that one person cheated too. They didn't actually notice it because of they were playing. They actually took out the file and compared it.
Yeah, you have to do that to notice.
Yeah, so
Not
if
really.
you're doing that, that's cheating. I just realized, and then whatever. It's okay. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of things that change and tweak, but ultimately we've been watching to see if the feedback of how it feels to play is good or bad, and largely the feedback has been very positive. So we're really looking forward to putting this out. We really want to see this done, and done right. That's the most important part, is
Yeah.
that we do this right. We don't want to put half the effort into it and it not do as well as the expectations we have now built for it are. So I haven't seen any actual questions in chat, so I don't know if anybody has any questions. Otherwise, is there any more on the forums, or was that it?
That's all there is. Here, yeah, keep this. I'll refresh it real fast in case something happened. Well,
Nope.
that was it.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's any other things.
The elemental system, is that in?
Elemental systems in the game, and Pegasus. Technically, it's in the game right now. It's just there's no changes
It's
to
not
balance.
Activated.
Yeah, so the elemental system will be part of the game system now too. We've managed to get it so that ammunition has elements, skills, weapons, armors. Over time, we'll start implementing naturally endowed elemental armor and weapon. Weapons, obviously, will have their own element, but as far as it goes for armor, it's only going to be the body piece. We had talked about trying to make it different element pieces for every different armor piece that you could wear, and it just got way complicated, so we simplified it. It's just going to be your body piece. So we'll make it so that you can have an item that you can either, I don't know what the term we were using, imbue, endow, something. You can use a scroll or an item, and it'll change the elemental piece of your weapon or armor permanently, or until you negate or change it. We've talked about, and I'm not sure if we actually managed to make it work, but it should be working. Potentially buffs and skills that buffs and debuffs actually. So you can have supportive skills that will change your armor into an element for a period of time, or your weapon for a period of time. And on the flip side, debuffs that will offensively change your target's armor or weapon, so that you can either do more damage to them or they'll do less damage to you. So it'll add more aspects of gameplay. Those buffs and debuffs aren't going to be ready until the class changes for the artisan come through, because that's one of those things that they were going to be provided, given that they work a lot with armors and weapons. It seemed natural that that would be an ability that they could provide. What else do we have? We have so many things that are happening in this update.
I
That just
know.
kept.
Zern's asking if there will be more ammo types that have different elements.
I didn't want to give every ammo or every element to ammo. So certain ammo types have been restricted to certain elements for now. But that's not to say that you can't just find an elemental weapon, ranged weapon, and then just use neutral ammo. The weapon will override the ammo if there's no element, and ammo will override the weapon if you use it. So, anything else? Any other questions? There are a whole bunch of questions. Or not. Well, Ivory Airblood says there's a whole bunch of questions that have a whole bunch of questions, but you're pretty sure it came in late and you already answered them. Well, you can
You might
just
as well
ask.
ask
You might as well
them.
ask, just
Yeah.
in case. If we did answer it, I can either quickly answer it again if it's short enough. If it's not, I'll answer it. Any news on skills for high-level visitors? Yeah, actually, I've been working and talking about that with Jen. We've actually been talking about the a permanent visitor class that you can choose. We will be probably talking more about it as time goes on, but the basic idea is giving simple skills to the visitor that are picked from each first class. So you might get all the basic passive skills that you can purchase for each basic first class, strength, dex, and probably give them the first level of cure, or the first, just cure, first one-hand skill, swords, stuff that make them just a little more stronger, but not necessarily compete with the full-on chosen class. So it'll be a fun class. It'll be a little more abilities.
You become kind of like a jack of all trades, but master of nothing kind of deal.
Exactly. But what?
That's not good with this update.
No, that's not with this update.
That's
That's
just
just something
okay.
we've been tinkering and poking around with. So that'll come out whenever it gets done. When will this be live? When it's done. We've been trying to push this to come out ever since. Well, I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna sound sad, but it's been a couple months now. It's been pushed back, unfortunately, due to unforeseen events. Our server merge back at the end of the year kind of put a big slowdown on us because getting Pegasus back online, making sure all the game servers were stable enough. We had actually some extended server stability issues that were a result of the server move. And so we've been finally stable for a good while, and so we moved back into getting Pegasus online, which it is now. And so we're back on track. It's just we did get put back behind quite a bit. I'm not really prepared to answer questions about the game's economy, because that's not what this
Yeah.
QA was about.
If you have
Economy is difficult to even talk about because I'm not an economist. And that in itself is just something to do. But
Yeah, this is just more update stuff.
Yeah, we're here to talk about the update. So if you have a question about the update, that's what we're here for. I would love to answer the questions. I'm just not prepared to. So, what else is it? Make scouts more tanky. Scouts aren't supposed to be tanky. They're ranged characters. They're supposed to be agile, mobile. I know they have shields, but they're not tanks. They tank by avoiding damage. And the shields actually do provide them with a bit more defense, but I wouldn't say it's supposed to be what they rely on. You know, why hold a ranged weapon if you plan on standing up next to somebody? When are you gonna get a new planet? I don't know.
Not with this update.
Not with this
Eventually.
update. You know, one thing at a time, please.
Yeah.
Content that massive takes a lot of planning and time and art, and oh my gosh, the art. Orlo was a huge development pipeline, and that took a long time. And we already had a lot of assets already created for us beforehand too. So starting from completely scratch, if we're going to do a new planet.
And if there is like a planet in motion, that's definitely like something that would be the forerunner of the announcement about the update. It wouldn't be like, oh, we're doing all this stuff. Oh, and by the way, we might also add a farm. Like it's a.
And just poop it out. Yeah. So I mean, a new plan's a big thing. So we'll get to that once we get to the point where we feel like we can actually extend content for it. A lot of the work we've been doing for updating the mechanics is actually a foundation that we've been trying to build so that we can step into new planets that have new features, new game aspects to try and compete against. So when we make these features for you guys as players, don't forget, monsters are going to get these abilities too. So it's going to make gameplay different as time goes on. We may not retroactively give many of our monsters currently these abilities. Probably some of the more mid to end games will start filtering some in, but as new content gets pushed out, new monsters get created, they'll become more difficult because they'll have these abilities to fight against you just as much. So something to look forward to. Is there going to be a new character class coming soon? That's actually one of the next projects that'll be coming out after this. Like I just mentioned, it's a foundation thing. So with the introduction to all especially the dots and hots, there's two classes that are in concept that very heavily rely on this mechanic. So you can start looking forward to potentially announcements regarding what they would be, how they're going to play, and what that means for new strategies and gameplay, be it PvP or not, or PvM. Handsome Devil. There's only one person who knows about the name of the class and actually asks what the class is going to be about, what the pros and cons are. But I'm going to save that for when that actually comes out. So for now, we won't be talking anymore about what the new classes might be, name-wise or other. Is there any plans to rework the passive stacks? I'm sorry, Xmas Lights asks, is there any plans to rework the passive stacks of Ice Arrow, Wind Arrow, Fire Arrow, and this class Scout? And any ideas of maybe taking away some of their accuracy passes and giving them more dodge rate or better evasiveness? Sure. Your feedback is important to us. So questions like this directly help us with what we can focus on when it comes to class balancing. So while we're on Pegasus testing these things out, please leave a comment or post regarding specific skills that you that you think are underpowered or overpowered, might need a bit of an adjustment to help fit the class design theme better. I probably won't remember past leaving this stream, so please post on the forums so me or Genesis can get to it.
And if for some reason like you're not, you don't want to post to the forums, you can even message on like make
Oh, yeah.
suggestions on other social media. There's the Steam discussions, Facebook, Twitter.
Send us a private message too. If you don't want to, if you don't want to put yourself out on public face and get blasted for your ideas, I totally understand. People can be mean. It's not fair, and they're booger heads. But I want to hear it. So at the very least, send me a message or send Genesis a message. Send the developers a message. Contact us. Get the message across to us because we want to hear you. I didn't see the follow up with that. Reworking some of the traps. Make it so that scouts can build into a trap build. Yeah, trap. I wanted to see a trap build. Traps were one of those things that I gave the scouts that I was like, I really want to see this become a thing, but there are supportive mechanics that we've yet to have gotten to that would have made it truly awesome. But still are in the notes for us to do. So hopefully we can start seeing trap builds be more of a thing. But because it's so secluded to just that class, it takes a little bit of a back burner because we have other aspects that affect more of the general gameplay. So we have to get to those first. But definitely want to fulfill that. Please make it possible to craft 999 at this time. Crafting system is definitely on table, on deck for after we're done with this. There's actually a large overhaul of the crafting system that we want to do because we've had a lot of comments and feedback about the crafting system. We have our own ideas and notions about what the crafting system should be, so we'll probably provide more information once we get to that point. A lot of it's still just talking concept at this point. Zern asks, will ammo always be limited to a stack of 999? Are there any plans to bring a new tier of crafted items? Yeah. We've always talked about making it so that ammo is no longer a consumable thing, where it's just an equipable thing. We'll just basically rule out the idea that you don't have to buy it every time you go to town and just say, you know what, you probably do. Because if you really rely on it that much, we'll just assume that you do. And it's also a fairness aspect of no other class necessarily has to spend the money to constantly refuel their weapon's ability to be used. So, but it's a strangely complicated thing to change that mechanic because it was one of those old original designs. So changing it requires a whole lot of change, more than we actually anticipated than just saying turn off. But we're hoping in the future we can actually get that so that doesn't become a thing. I think I lost some other questions. Have we considered adding numbers in monsters' health so I know how much more HP he has? We've considered it, but probably won't do it.
No, I think we're.
It depends on if we update the UI on targeting before that happens. So, which is another thing we've always wanted to do. So, I don't know if there's any other questions. How much time are we supposed to have this stream?
We have 6 more minutes.
Oh, good, 6
We have 6 more minutes. Just as a nice 6-minute reminder there. It's a random number to.
All right. Well, all right, so the last few minutes of the stream, we can't take any more questions at this point, but there is a couple announcements to make.
If you do, if you have any questions though, you can post it on the forums in the thread or send me a message about them or that's.
Of course.
But we just can't take it more live stream. Sorry.
Yeah, I can't. No more time. I guess we're running low. But we did have one final announcement to make. We're going to be changing things up back here. One of them is that Genesis will actually be taking my spot. He will be taking control of Rose. He'll be the new producer, the new developer lead, and this is a great promotion for him. He's been with us for a very long time, and I'm really happy for him because if anybody I would ever want this to be handed to, it's him. He's got so much love and passion, and definitely there for the community, and wants to see Rose continue to succeed and do well. So he's there for you guys, as much as he's been there for me. So I will actually not be able to continue my work with Rose directly in the same capacity. I'll still be around. I'm still going to be with Gravity, working with Warp Portal, and I'm trying not to cry. If you hear that in my voice, it's really bittersweet because I've been with Rose for so long, since the beginning, and I love this community. I love this game. This is harder than I thought.
Should have written it down.
I should have written it down because I can't. This is hard to do off the top of my head. But you guys have been so great. I mean, you guys really have been a very close community to me. You've always been very, very caring, and I think by far it is the best community that we have in all of our games. I've had that commented to me through many people who have come and gone through the company doing community work or just been on the forums, that you guys are just awesome. So thank you for everything that you've given, said, done, and just everything. Genesis is taking over, and like I said, I'll be here to help him with anything he needs, but it's gonna be his now, and I'm very happy for him. If anyone has, I'm sure people are asking that. I'm moving on to a different game. I'm going to be the producer for one of our titles that we're going to be picking up. If anyone's interested, it's called Metal Assault, and I won't go too much into it because that's not what we were doing the stream for, but that's where I'm going to be moving on to. I'll be the producer for that. And yeah, I think I'll leave the last 3 minutes to not cry. You guys are great, so thank you very much. Genesis, do you have any words you want to say?
No, but thank you, and I'm pretty proud to be able to take over Rose and keep going with it. Hopefully make it continue to be awesome.
He will. I have no doubt of that.
Alright.
Alright.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us.
First and last time you get to see me, so bye, thank you.
If you missed the beginning or any questions, you can, this is going to be up on YouTube fairly soon, and I'll post it in the thread on the forums as well, and on Facebook. So you can look it over and see if any questions again. But yeah, thank you again, everyone. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Thank you.
And
Always my pleasure.
have a fantastic rest of your
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
Oh,
everyone.
Wednesday.
Wed Monday?
Wednesday.
It's just, yes, Wednesday. Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone.
Have a good
Bye.
day.